Yes, I want to talk about the Jeff Keighley cryptic tweet that a lot of people are speculating could be a reference to Half-Life 3, to Bloodborne 2, and all that. So it's this right here. I already talked about it when it got posted. It's that right there, but the Game Awards replied with this. The blank are silent, blank bleeds, new blank stir. And that right there has been a bomb in the Bloodborne Hopium community. It's a very cool statue, by the way. Very cool. They do this every year. Not really to this degree. There's never been a year where I thought, maybe it could be Bloodborne until now. And even then, I still don't really think that. I just think if someone's going to go this hard for, like, teasing an announcement, it's either gotta be something people have been begging for a long time, or a delusional company that's about to just beclown themselves in front of the entire Game Awards and God. Like, imagine this is all just an announcement for some, like, fucking shovelware gacha game or something. It's definitely not going to be Elder Scrolls. If you want to know what I think it is, and I don't think anyone's going to be, like, necessarily pleased, I think it's Saros. So, if you look at Saros, and this is a game that's got, like, a lot of meat behind it, and it looks like a cool game. I think it's this. They've already teased this game before. The style of that statue is kind of similar. I think it's probably going to be Saros. That was my immediate impressions when I saw the this right here. Because I don't know what the fuck this would mean in Saros. And I also don't know how this would have, like, applied to Bloodborne other than the reach of, like, New Blood Stir or something. Moon Bleeds or whatever. I just do not think it's Bloodborne 2. But do you really think they would do all this marketing for a game that's already announced? Seems like a waste. Brother, it's the video game industry. Of course they would. They do all kinds of nonsensical shit. The hunters are silent. It could be. I'm kidding, it won't be. I'm still very confident this is not Bloodborne. I don't even think the style really looks all that Bloodborne-esque. This would be a crazy departure from the aesthetic of Bloodborne. Lords of the Fallen 2. Ugh! God, that'd be awful. It literally has to be Duskbloods. See, Duskbloods I could definitely see. Since we don't know a ton about it, it is FromSoft, so they'd probably go hog wild for it. I could definitely see it being Duskbloods. Diablo 4, maybe. That would be the most deflating shit. That'd be worse than a gacha game announcement. If they're just announcing a new patch. All we know for sure is that it's not God of War, Elder Scrolls 6, or Diablo. All those have been debunked. Unless it's a red herring. Just like when they said they weren't going to show us a Silent Hill trailer at the PlayStation Now like 6 months ago, and then they did at the end as a bait and switch. I'm sticking with my guess that it's something to do with Saros. Diablo 4 Season 11 goes live on December 11th, 8:30 PST, right after the Game Awards. Take that as you will. God, that is going to be the most foolish fucking thing if this actually is Diablo 4. Oh my god. Any possibility it's something to do with the Berserk franchise? You crazy? I'd say zero possibility. You think Netflix buying Warner Bros. Is a good or bad move? Oh, I hate it. I super hate it. Bad. I can't think of a single good thing about it. But this is the way the world is going, where a couple of companies are going to own everything in sectors. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. An $82.7 billion acquisition. I also think this is now well, not the first, but the largest step in the death of movie theaters. Obviously, with Netflix owning Warner Bros., the movies are going to be hitting Netflix. I can't imagine they're going to be investing heavily into, like, a theater experience. So I think movie theaters are probably going to start being phased out over the next decade or so. Which makes me pretty upset because I really like the movie theater experience. But it's just never going to be able to compete with the convenience of seeing the new movies from your own home everyone's going to choose that now anyway, especially with Netflix going to most likely be putting all the Warner Bros. Releases on streaming instead of in theaters. So I struggle to think of any positives. Chatter that mentioned that now Netflix owns the Nemesis system, which is a video game patent that Warner Bros. Had fucking kegeled for the last, decade and done nothing with. The Nemesis system is from Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Really, really fun gameplay mechanics. Love it. People have been wanting it for years. Warner Bros. Does nothing with it. Netflix owning it means it'll probably never see the light of day, because Netflix just canned their entire gaming division only a year ago. So you're not ever going to see the Nemesis system and anything gaming adjacent that Warner Bros. Has had. They probably won't be doing anything with, would be my guess. It's such a shame. Yeah, everything becoming Netflix original is bleak. To be fair, we were never going to see it anyway. I know. I'm not stupid enough to think that if Warner Bros. Stayed out of Netflix's paws, we'd somehow get a game with the Nemesis system. They had just canceled the Wonder Woman one anyway. I know. But even still, they're 100% still going to do Mortal Kombat, but that's probably it. I think definitely Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not going anywhere. I think there's going to be a handful of legacy IP that Netflix will absolutely still produce, because they print money. Like Mortal Kombat, even the more weak entries into the franchise is still an absolute cash cow. Netflix is definitely going to keep pumping Mortal Kombat games. And Warner Bros. Has so many juggernaut IP that I have to imagine Netflix will keep pumping. They have the gaming rights to Harry Potter. They have the DC gaming rights as well, if I remember correctly. So they're going to keep pumping those. 100%. They're buying WB Games as well. It's everything Warner Bros., right? From what I was reading, they own literally everything Warner Bros. Owns, unless I've got incorrect information. It's an $82.7 billion acquisition. I'm so fucking excited. It must be kind of cool living life with that mentality. I watch Witcher on Netflix. I like that. And now Netflix owns Warner Bros. I get to watch everything there too now? Yippee! That's gotta be so cool. To just be able to do that. They don't fully own Dune, though. Do they not? I don't know how Dune was distributed through Warner Bros. I was under the assumption that they do have Dune as well. Please, Netflix, make a new season for Young Justice. Yeah, I'm sure Netflix will be able to make some quality products. Now, don't get me wrong. I have poo-pooed on Warner Bros. For a long time. Zaslav is a fucking moron. That guy is an actual homunculus. And Warner Bros. Have been spiraling for a minute. But you're crazy if you're trying to convince yourself that Netflix is somehow going to steer the ship better. But I'd love to be wrong. I would love if Netflix proved me wrong. I'll tell you that much. I would be very excited if they actually did good things with everything Warner Bros. Has. Honestly, Netflix monopoly means everything in one place. That just makes me sick to read. Oh my god. That actually just makes me sick to read. Oh, fuck me. Yuck. Wait, this means they own HBO too? Yes. Yes, it does. Netflix $79.99 a month with ads. At least it's all in one place, though. Will HBO and Netflix merge? My guess would be no. I would think with this acquisition, they will continue to have HBO Max as a separate entity from Big Brother Netflix. That would be my guess. Because they get to have their cake and eat it too. Because maybe an HBO Max subscriber isn't a Netflix subscriber. I don't know why they would even take the chance of trying to combine forces there. Keep them separate. You get the double dip. Leading rumor is that Netflix is going to give Warner Bros. A 2-week theatrical release for all their movies before they hit streaming. Oh my god. And today, Netflix CEO said release windows will evolve to be shorter, so the rumor is likely true. Let me see that. I didn't see that statement from the Netflix CEO. 2-week theater run. Oh my god. Oh my god. Here it is, yeah. Ted says Netflix committed to Warner Bros. Theatrical releasing as Cinema Trade Group calls merger unprecedented threat. We've released about 30 films into theaters this year, so it's not like we have this opposition to movies in theaters. My pushback has been mostly in the fact of the long exclusive windows, which we don't really think are that consumer friendly. He said, AMC and other chains are looking to reestablish a 30 or 45-day window to energize movie-going that dwindled during COVID. Biggest chains often won't run Netflix films with truncated windows. The entertainment community and movie theaters in particular have been immensely jittery at this corporate combination given the streamer's short window, if any, as they cater to their streaming audience. Exhibition's biggest trade group, Cinema United, came out with a blunt statement this morning opposing the merger, saying, the proposed acquisition of Warner Bros. By Netflix poses an unprecedented threat to the global exhibition business. The negative impact of this acquisition will impact theaters from the biggest circuits to one-screen independents in small towns in the United States and around the world. Cinema United stands ready to support industry changes that lead to increased movie production and give consumers more opportunities to enjoy a day at the local theater, but Netflix's stated business model does not support theatrical exhibition. In fact, it's the opposite. Regulators must look closely at the specifics of this proposed transaction and understand the negative impact it will have on consumers, exhibition, and the entertainment industry. Yep, so, okay, looks like they will be putting them in theaters for a very short period of time. Then to streaming. After 2 weeks, a movie is dead in the theater anyway. Well, that's just categorically false. Do we know if they own Cartoon Network Studios, and Adult Swim, or does Discovery own it? I've seen tweets saying confusing things regarding it. Again, as I understand it, they own everything that was under the Warner Bros. Umbrella, so that includes things like Cartoon Network and shit like that. Again, that's just what I was reading. I could be wrong. It's all pretty fresh. I did read, though, that they might not have all the cable assets. And if that's the case, then they wouldn't have Cartoon Network, I don't think. But again, it's still a little too fresh. Not entirely sure. Shows on them might get canceled. I'm going to tell you something. The shows on Cartoon Network are probably safer outside of the clutches of Zaslav. That man had been axing shows left and right. Cartoons, it was just a matter of time before that shit was thrown in the trash. That man was cutting shit left and right, front and center, day and night. So, there's plenty of problems you can point out. That is not really one of them. That guy had an absolute hate boner for anything animated. I'll tell you, anything animated is probably safer outside of his hands. What if they bring back Courage? I would fucking hate if Netflix brought back Courage. That shit would be so awful. I have no faith in Netflix, of all people, to make Courage, a new Courage that is still faithful to the vibe and the heart of the original. Because you already know it'd be 3D. You already know it'd be 100% like the cheapest fucking 3D they could afford. They'd have the big mouth animators work on it. Oh! Ugh! God, even just the thought of that. You saw Paramount is planning to do a hostile takeover bid for Warner Bros. Because I think their deal is better than Netflix. No, is Paramount trying to fight? They hopping in the Thunderdome to buy Warner Bros? Let me see. Oh yeah, 5 hours ago. Paramount could go hostile for Warner Bros. Discovery after losing to Netflix. What's their strategy? Just put more money on top? Paramount was bested by Netflix on Friday in its efforts to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, but it may still appeal directly to Warner Bros. Shareholders through a hostile takeover offer. Why it matters. Paramount could argue that its all-cash bid of $30 a share is better in terms of both price and likelihood of regulatory approvals, although it would need to disclose more information about its debt financing. Both Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery executives are confident they'll receive the necessary sign-offs for their deal. We've signed our deal, and we are running full speed towards regulatory approval, Netflix CEO Ted said. Netflix only agreed to buy Warner Bros. Studio and streaming assets for a combination of cash and stock after cable networks are spun out in a separate company. Paramount's offer was for the entire business. Okay, so this is confirmed then. So then Netflix is not getting their cable assets. Got it. A source close to Paramount said the company, which didn't have visibility into Netflix's offer until Friday morning, legitimately thinks it made the best bid and is currently exploring next steps. An operative word is patience. Cringe. That's cringe. Paramount also thinks its offer could look even better when the Comcast cable network spinoff begins trading later this month. It would serve as a market comparison to Warner Bros. Discovery stub that Netflix will leave behind. Paramount's lawyers have questioned the fairness and adequacy of the sale process, which kicked off after Paramount already had submitted 3 unsolicited offers. In a letter to the board, Paramount said the auction was tainted by management conflicts, including certain members of management's potential personal interests in post-transaction roles and compensation as a result of the economic incentives embedded in recent amendments to employment arrangements. That just sounds like fucking gobbledygook from Sore Loser there. It underscored concerns of board director bias towards a Netflix bid without considering heightened regulatory risk and potential value of a full bid versus a partial asset bid. That's a who cares moment, I would say, if you're on like the Netflix board, if you're more biased, or if you're on the Warner Bros. Board, if you're more biased towards Netflix, I guess. Not illegal to prefer Netflix over Paramount. Unless there is some kind of like legality to it, which I would be surprised. Worth mentioning, Paramount received help from Saudi Arabia for their bid. What? No! That's impossible. No matter who wins this bid, we all lose. Yeah, I know, that's what we were talking about. It's not a good thing. Are you considering putting up an offer? Brother, you couldn't give me Warner Bros. Discovery for free. How much debt do they have? They have $34 billion of debt as of late 2025. According to companiesmarketcap.com here. Well, $33.52 billion. Why does Netflix pay so much? Because they're assets. They see the value. The idea behind acquiring a giant like this is you now have so many powerful IP and you have so much at your fingertips. The idea is you would make way more than $82.7 billion over like a 10, 20-year period through proper management. That's the idea.